Generally, trauma like this can manifest in children's behaviors. So, if we know what to keep an eye out for, we might be able to identify the signs and symptoms that this might be happening with the child. तो बच्चों के साथ usually it varies from age to age, but what generally happens is that children might go into social isolation where they might not be talking to their peers or engaging with their peers, or playing with their friends the way that they used to. They might lose interest in the things that they once were interested in. They might experience bedwetting or night terrors, or they might lose appetite. Some of these things may happen, and they would happen not on a one-off incident, but they could generally happen long term. So if they are happening for more than, let's say, 2 to 3 weeks or 4 weeks, then that's probably a sign that this is not a phase, this is something that is the result of trauma. If, God forbid, this is happening with a child and they trust you with the information and they start opening up to you that this is happening to them, it needs to be dealt with a lot of sensitivity, regardless of whatever your relationship is with them, whether you are a school teacher, their parent, their sister, their aunt, their brother. If they are talking to you about this, it needs to be dealt with a certain level of sensitivity. In that moment, what we can do is offer our support through active listening. As a society, हमारी एक बहुत नीड होती है कि हम रिस्पॉन्ड करें अगर हमसे कोई बात कर रहा है. बहुत ज़रूरी है उस वक्त कि हम सिर्फ बच्चे की बात सुने and we offer our support to them in that moment. Of course, that means that we absolutely cannot engage in victim blaming, where the child is opening up to us about something like this, as traumatic as this, and we start blaming them or implying that it was their fault. Absolutely not. Similarly, sometimes we often respond with the question कि मुझे पहले क्यों नहीं बताया, इतनी देर बाद क्यों बताया. So that implies that it was the child's fault that they did not tell you first and it kept on happening to them. So letting them know, first of all, that it was not their fault and it happened to them, and whatever happened to them was very traumatic. Supporting them in that scenario by just listening to them, by asking them questions, checking in with them about how they feel, that would be the first aid in supporting the child whenever they open up to you or they let you know that something like this is happening to them. So we can offer our support to survivors of abuse by just listening to them, by being their friend, by helping them process their trauma or helping them process their feelings, by just being there for them and listening to them with empathy and patience, and completely disregarding the narrative that it was their fault. Sometimes this gets ignored and it needs to be reminded to them again and again that जो भी हुआ वो उनकी गलती नहीं थी, and it was not their fault, and it's not because they were bad. And of course, therapy and counseling is a key role in processing this trauma. So if you are able to, please provide therapeutic support to your children from a qualified clinical psychologist or a child and adolescent psychologist, so that they're able to break this trauma down and it does not impact them as much as it does and it might when they grow up.